Welcome back, folks. My name's Shane. In today's video, we're checking out the Pergear 512GB CFExpress Type B card and reader combo. Now, if you've ever looked into CFExpress cards before, you know that they're usually fairly expensive. Now, Pergear has released this 512GB CFExpress Type B card for only $149 US. Actually, it's cheaper than that at the time of filming at $126 on sale. Now, if you prefer to get the combo, this will set you back $186, which essentially gives you a CFExpress Type A and B card reader along with this 512GB card. I tested this card out for practical tests, shooting raw video with my Lumix GH7, and I also did some temperature tests and ran a bunch of kind of semi-boring benchmark tests using Blackmagic disk speed test. This video will cover whether or not this CFExpress Type B card is fast and reliable enough to be used in my GH7 using the high data modes that this is capable of. This will also apply to any other camera system out there that has similar recording modes to this that also requires a CFExpress B card. Thanks to Pergear for sending these out for this particular review video. I really appreciate it. If you want to take a look at these, I'll link them down below. All right, let's start with the practical video tests using my Lumix GH7. So the Lumix GH7 is capable of pushing some huge data rates. So I started shooting Apple ProRes RAW at 5.7K at 25 frames per second, and it filled the card completely without any write speed errors. The good news is that the card was only 25 degrees Celsius, which was a lot cooler than I was anticipating. Secondly, I ran a ProRes RAW HQ 4K 50p test using the GH7, which also ran until the card filled completely. This test raised the temperature only to 28 degrees Celsius on the card, which was great considering how much data is actually getting pushed around. Lastly, I tested the card shooting 4K at 120 frames per second, and this is 420 10-bit, and it ran for 20 minutes until I manually stopped it. Now just remember, shooting 4K at 120 frames per second is 5 times my frame rate here, so it worked out to about 120 minutes of footage. The takeaway here is that this card worked in all of the most demanding modes on the Panasonic GH7, which is a great sign. Now, I confirmed all of the write and read speed tests using the Blackmagic Design disk speed test in combination with the Pergear reader over here. You can see on screen that it's compatible with most frame rates and modes up to 8K. Now, lab tests are one thing, but I also wanted to take this out and shoot with it in a way that I would naturally shoot outside in the field. I don't just let it run. I like to do a lot of short sort of clips when it comes to shooting wildlife or birds, ducks, and so forth around the area here. Now, there was only one time where I saw a write error with this card and camera combination shooting ProRes RAW HQ 4K at 50 frames per second. This only glitched once, and I think the reason for it was that I started recording too soon after stopping recording. So if you wait a few seconds between hitting record and pause or stop, then you'll be fine. But I remember a couple of times where I was hitting record, hitting stop, hitting record, hitting stop, and that's where I saw that error come up. The last practical test I ran was moving 100 gigabytes of raw files from the CFExpress card that I recorded all these files from onto my SSD on my Mac Studio, and this took about 4 minutes to complete. I figured it was worth checking the speed of the reader, so I switched it out with my Sabrent one over here. As you can see, this is the Pergear one, and this is my Sabrent one, and the speeds were identical, which means there's no bottlenecking going on with the card reader, which is great. By the way, this Pergear reader also supports CFExpress Type A cards. So if you have a Sony camera like a Sony FX30 or FX3, for example, and you have these type of CFExpress Type A cards, there's a slot for those on the bottom. I also tested the photography side of the GH7 with this card, starting with the mechanical shutter, and I let it shoot for 25 seconds before manually stopping it. I figure maybe you won't need to shoot more than that, but if you do, give it a shot. But this had no problems keeping up. Now, the electronic shutter is super fast on this camera, and it had no issues with that either. And if you're used to shooting with conventional SD cards, even V90 cards, you'll notice a difference in how fast it clears the buffer shooting with a CFExpress Type B card. Another huge benefit to this card over a V90 card, for example, is how fast you can transfer files from the card to your computer. It's much quicker, saving you a whole bunch of time. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts here on the Pergear 512GB CFExpress Type B card and combo reader. I think this is a really great set if you don't already have any cards in your collection, or if you're looking for a larger capacity card than something like a 128GB version. So this is great. If you shoot H.265, you won't encounter any write errors, and you'll have hours and hours of storage on this, which I really like. Now, while I did see it glitch out when I was shooting the wildlife around the area here, as long as you're not just hitting record, pause, record like that, it's not gonna have any issues. And the fact that it can record raw internally to the card without heating up too much is also very good. If you're shooting with a GH7, a GH6, or even some of the new Lumix cameras that support CFExpress Type B cards, this should do a really great job. Let us know if this video has been helpful. You can drop a thumbs up and comment down below. Subscribe for more videos, and I will catch you on the next one. Catch you soon.